Hey guys, today I will be telling you a story about how Peppa Pig haunted a little girl on Avatar World. Lily Thompson was just like any other 8-year-old, full of energy, always laughing, and a little too obsessed with Peppa Pig. She had Peppa Pig backpacks, lunchboxes, and even Peppa Pig socks. All of her friends knew her as the girl who was Peppa Pig's #1 or her biggest fan, and she took pride in it. Not a single day went by where she wasn't telling her friends about Peppa and her adventures. Even the teachers knew her as the Peppa girl in class. Her mom, her dad, everyone in her family knew just how much she adored Peppa. Thus, they allowed her to customize her room using all sorts of Peppa Pig merch. But lately, something about Peppa had started to feel off. It all started when she saw Peppa in places she shouldn't be. One day, in the middle of math class, Lily glanced out the window. Her heart nearly stopped. Standing by the swing set in the farthest corner of the playground was Peppa Pig. But this Peppa wasn't a cartoon on a screen. She wasn't a costume or a toy. She was real. In disbelief, she rubbed her eyes, thinking she was hallucinating due to her not being able to sleep properly last night. She took another closer look at the figure. Peppa's pink skin had a strange, grayish tint, and her smile was too wide, stretching across her face in a way that made Lily's stomach twist. Peppa raised a hand and waved. Lily blinked. When she looked again, Peppa was gone. She tried to shake it off, convincing herself she was just imagining things, but Peppa kept appearing. The next day, as Lily walked through the empty hallway to the restroom, she heard soft giggling echo behind her. She turned sharply. No one was there. Hello, she called out. No answer. She took a deep breath and hurried into the restroom. As she washed her hands, something in the mirror caught her eye. Over her shoulder, just behind the last stall, stood Peppa. Lily whirled around. Nothing. But the stall door creaked open, as if someone had just stepped inside. She wanted to tell her friends about what she had just experienced, but she knew nobody would believe her. They'd just shrug it off as her being too obsessed with Peppa. So Lily refrained from sharing it with her friends at that time. She ran out of the bathroom, heart pounding. At lunch, Lily sat alone, barely touching her sandwich. Her best friend, Mia, plopped down beside her. Hey, what's wrong? Mia asked, biting into her apple. Even though Mia was her best friend, she still hesitated at first, thinking she wouldn't believe anything she said. You ever feel like you're being watched? Mia wrinkled her nose. Watched? By who? Lily glanced around before whispering, Peppa Pig. Mia stared at her. Like, the cartoon? Lily nodded. But she's real? She's here. Mia laughed. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. You probably just had too much Peppa Pig on your brain. Lily knew it, now even Mia wasn't ready to believe what she had seen. Lily sighed. Maybe Mia was right. Maybe she was imagining it. But that night, Lily's doubts vanished. She woke up to the sound of soft snorting. She froze. It was coming from inside her room. Her eyes darted around in the darkness. She couldn't see anything in the room, but deep down she could feel the presence of another entity with her. Chills ran down her spine. Moonlight filtered through her curtains, casting shadows on her walls. And then she saw it. In the corner, standing near her closet, was Peppa. Her big round eyes were unblinking, and her head tilted slightly to the side, as if she were studying Lily. She took a step forward. The floor didn't creak under her hooves. She moved without a sound. Lily couldn't breathe. At first, she thought she was having a nightmare, and it would all end as soon as she woke up. But that was not the case. What she was experiencing was very much real. Peppa lifted one stubby arm and waved, just like she had at the playground. But her fingers, she had fingers now. Last time she checked, Peppa did not have any fingers, and definitely not like the ones this Peppa had. They were thin and stretched long. Far too long for a pig. Lily squeezed her eyes shut. This isn't real. This isn't real. When she opened them again, Peppa was gone. But the faintest trace of giggling still echoed in the room. The next day at school, Lily was exhausted. She kept looking over her shoulder, afraid Peppa would appear again. She told Mia everything. Mia's expression turned serious. Even though she still didn't believe what Lily was telling her, since she was her friend, Lily felt like she was obligated to help her out. Okay, let's prove she's not real. If she's haunting you, she'll show up again, right? Lily wasn't sure she wanted proof, but Mia had already made up her mind. That afternoon, they stayed late after school, waiting in the empty classroom. As the sun dipped lower, the room grew darker, the shadows stretching across the floor. A quiet snort echoed through the room. Mia's hand shot out, gripping Lily's arm. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Lily nodded, too afraid to speak. Then from the corner of the room, Peppa stepped into the light. Mia gasped. "Oh no!" Peppa's smile was too wide. Her black beady eyes gleamed. She took another step closer, then another. Lily and Mia backed toward the door. It wouldn't budge. Peppa giggled. "Snort, snort," she whispered. "Let's play." Mia yanked the door handle. It's stuck. Peppa took another step. Then, just as she reached for them, the bell rang. A teacher's voice echoed from the hallway. "Girls, what are you still doing here?" Lily and Mia turned toward the door. It was suddenly open. They spun back around. Peppa was gone. That was the last time Lily saw her. But even now, years later, she refuses to watch Peppa Pig. And sometimes, when she's alone, she still hears the snorting. Years later, Lily thought she had put it all behind her. She moved to a new town, a new school, and made new friends. But one night, as she scrolled through old childhood photos on her phone, she froze. A picture from second grade caught her attention. She was at recess with Mia, smiling at the camera, but in the background near the swing set was a blurry pink figure. Lily's blood ran cold. She zoomed in. The face was barely visible, but the shape was unmistakable. Peppa Pig. A fresh wave of giggling echoed through her empty room. Lily's heart pounded. She slowly turned her head toward the closet. The door creaked open, and there, in the shadows, stood Peppa. She raised a hand and waved. Lily tried to scream, but no sound came out. She stumbled backward, clutching her phone, but the screen went black. The giggling grew louder. "You never said goodbye, Lily," Peppa whispered. The room felt colder. The walls seemed to stretch, pressing in. Lily's breath came in ragged gasps as Peppa took another step forward. The door slammed shut behind her. Then silence. The next morning, Lily's parents found her curled in the corner of her room, shaking. She never spoke of Peppa again, but she never watched TV, never looked at a cartoon, never even glanced at a stuffed animal. And sometimes, just before she falls asleep, she still hears that faint snorting in the dark. One night, years later, Lily's phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "Why did you forget about me?" Attached was a blurry photo of her childhood bedroom. The closet door was slightly ajar. Lily's breath hitched. She deleted the message, but a moment later, another text appeared. "I didn't forget you." Lily's light flickered. The air turned icy. And then, from somewhere inside her room, a soft snort. Days later, Mia visited Lily's place to see how she was doing, but she couldn't find her. She asked her neighbors if she knew where Lily was, but they had no idea either. Lily was nowhere to be found ever again.